All right, you saw us last time, I think was when my brother was over here. We were putting the body back on the truck, so I got the body mounts all bolted down and got it lined up, and then pull the gas tank out so I can clean it and stuff, and then pull a little seams around a couple little holes and paint the floor. I just need to paint over that crap. I need to get some seat belts, that's for sure. Anyway, I measured the belts this morning before I went to work, so let's see what we got. None of the original belts will fit because I got a different alternator bracket, and I don't have the AC compressor on here anymore. We'll put that on there eventually, but right now we're not too worried about it. So let's see if this fits. Hope it does. It's kind of difficult to measure these things sometimes. Yeah, I think we're good there. Serpentine belt. Yay, probably too fucking short. Yeah, I think that's gonna be too short. We really needed to be up a little higher in that bracket. Yeah, I pulled the gas tank out and cleaned it. I put it in before, but yeah, that's not gonna be long enough. We can try to force a square peg in a round hole all we want, but I'm gonna have to get a longer belt for the alternator. Okay, 45 and 1/8, so we probably need, venture to guess, like 46 and a half or something. So we'll exchange that one. At least we got one of them right, so there's that. A little water pump. Plus is all the way around there. We can go ahead and tighten that down. So at least, well, we don't really want to start it. We can't start it till we put the alternator on, because the alternator is going to have to charge the Holly sniper, or it's going to have to be able to charge the battery to run the sniper. Because we got to run it for 20 minutes once we start it. We can't turn it off. Got to get it going so we can break in the camshaft. All right, let me get half-inch drive. I don't remember what size this thing is. This is a big bolt. It's a 19 or a large Torx. I got some power steering hose for this reservoir. We're just gonna have to make a bracket for it. All right. We still got a lot to do. Still need to make my plug wires. Need to fill up transmission fluid. Obviously, put the radiator in and get some antifreeze. Bolt down that. Change the valve covers out. Probably change the valve covers out before we do the spark plug wires. Hopefully they clear the brake booster. Now that I'm looking at it, well, we'll figure this out. Go to O'Reilly's tomorrow and swap it out for another one. There's just a lot of things to do, so that's always nice. I guess in order to move forward with the under hood shit, we gotta get the valve cover swapped out so we can do the spark plug wires. I really should have done it with the cab off, or with, you know, but my brother's like, well, you're gonna dent them up. Well, we didn't dent up these ones. I guess if we would have had aftermarket ones, we would have probably dented them up. It's another thing I need to add to the list. I need to make ground wires. Chassis to engine, you know. List has got 12, 13 things on it, I guess, right now. And that's probably not even half of what I need to do. And because I'm a simple guy with simple taste, I've just got some plain black stamped steel valve covers. My brother snagged them up for me when he went to Summit the other day. So, oh hell, they're hitting the firewall. Okay, well, that is very close. I did not realize that. We'll be running the stock valve cover. That sucks. All right, well, let me get geared up for us to do the spark plug wires then. All right, so we're gonna start with number 2. Number 2 is usually gonna be your longest one, because it's going from this side of the distributor, the complete opposite side of the distributor, to the front passenger side. All right, these are make your own spark plug wires, which is a pain in the ass, but it is what it is. So this one, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna lay them all out, and then I'm gonna put like a piece of tape on them, so I can just make all the ends at one time. That going back and forth shit's for the birds. I ain't fucking doing it. All right, this one, it's gonna come around and go to right here, because that one's our number 1. The one that's kind of pointing at number 1. It's kind of, I mean, I could point it further, but that messes up the advance of the distributor. I showed y'all how to do that on the, whenever I slapped the sniper on the small block that had been sitting for 20 years. This one will come around here. That's number 2. So let me go grab some electrical tape, like gray or white electrical tape, and I'll just wrap a little tape about where it needs to be cut and trimmed or whatever, and I'll write number 2 on it. then I'll go to the next one and the next one and the next one. So we'll do a couple of these and then I'll kind of leave it from there. Then I'll show you how you crimp the ends on there. All right, like I said, we're gonna start with number 2. I went ahead and put these back on because I'm gonna make my own little ties with zip ties, you know. So we're gonna run those down like that, kind of keep them snaked out of the way. Might do them on this side of the valve cover for the sake of testing the length. We'll stick them on this side of this guy here. Actually, that one might be okay, the length that it is. So we'll probably just go ahead and label that one number 2. See, we got our little electrical tape here. All right, number 2. Now we need to see what length we need for number 1. We're gonna just jump and go in order, you know. We'll come around right there. So that's number 8. Really, that length isn't bad. It's not bad to have a little bit of slack. You don't want 20 freaking foot of slack, but a little bit's good in case you decide you want to route it a different way. So we will make this one number 8, number 5. All right, so this is how you make your own spark plug wires. All right, for the sake of this video, I will do it this way, or I'll show you how they tell you how to do it, basically. I have some strippers that work really good for this. These are actually for coaxial cable. I used to do a home theater and Navy and all that crap like that, so we had to strip coaxial cable, so I have coaxial strippers. I think these are made by Klein. I'll show you how to do it the way that, you know, if you don't have strippers, how you do it. So this one, well, it's already at pretty much the length. Let me find the one I need to cut down. So this one here, God, that's so fucking long. All right, so basically you need to cut the damn thing. You have this slot you stick it in to put your razor blade. So we'll cut it about right there. You have these little markers here, this little line there or whatever, you know. And you will take your razor blade. We'll just stick it on the vise there so I don't have to hold it and do the razor blade at the same time. This is how it tells you to do it. I don't know how well this works because I don't do it this way. There you go, strip back. Take your end here, fold that lead down. Well, I just take some pliers and I kind of pinch it back a little bit, pinch it, so it will fit into the crimper device, because the crimper device is at this piece here and this piece here. They slide in together. They make ratcheting crimpers for this too, if you wanted to purchase those, if you plan on making a bunch of plug wires. See how I pinched it down in there? Take your boot. Don't know what that's all about. Lube it up with a little something. You can use dielectric grease. It doesn't work as good as this 111 stuff I use. It's Molly Coat. This works much better because it's kind of tough to push it in there. Dang it! It's very tough to push in there sometimes. There it goes. All right, because you're kind of pinching this at the same time. It's just kind of a bear, but you got that. Dab you a little dielectric in there. Go ahead and hit your other side that your plug wire, or it goes to your plug. A little dielectric in that, just so it's prepared for your spark plug. And there's that one. We'll do one more, and I'll show you how much better it is with the coaxial strippers than it is doing it with a razor blade. Got this little sleeve you push up. That's a lot faster, a lot easier. All right, I got a belt today. I got 2 belts from O'Reilly's. Both of them would have fit. The other one would have put the alternator too far down though. So this one's a 47-inch one. Of course, it's the more expensive one. Why wouldn't it be? All right, so we were working on building plug wires yesterday. I finished them before I went inside last night, and now we need to just route them in place. Let me get those over here, and then we'll get to the routing. All right, so these I'll put a little dielectric on the studs on the distributor cap. Not everybody uses dielectric grease, but I figured I might as well put a little bit on there. It ain't gonna hurt. Oh, it's right there. Number 1. I've got some boots for them if I want to put boots on there, keep them from burning, but these headers actually have plenty of room around them, so should be okay. All right, so these are gonna be like zip tied here. I don't put it on there super tight on the, you just want to keep it from rubbing against stuff. You don't need it pinching the crap out of it. Anyway, this is super boring for someone to watch, so I will button this up and show y'all how it turned out. I've been doing a couple things. I got the plug wires done. I guess I'll show you all that real quick. And I mounted the ignition coil. That's mounted over here. Just tapped it for some 1024, and then ran the oil pressure line. But yeah, ran the plug wires. That's how I did them. I've just been kind of buttoning up crap that's not worth freaking people watching. I'm wiring up the factory tack module, factory tack gauge, I guess you'd say. Let's see, the factory one, stock one. So yeah, very nice, brand used reman cluster, rolled over to 0 or 9999999. I like to use these Delphi crimpers, these Delphi connectors. They're like weather pack, Delphi, whatever the hell you want to call them. Depends on what year it is. Oh, I like to spill them on the ground too. The brown wire coming from the tachometer is going to be the one that gets the signal from the engine. If you're not doing the ignition like I'm doing it, you'd have like a HEI. HEI is labeled. It says tack and battery, so that would be that. Yeah, these weather pack things are pretty dadgum handy. These are like cheap ones or whatever. The little fittings are questionable result. Seem to work okay though. We'll find out here in a minute when we plug it in. And then this one, this is a pink wire. It's kind of reddish, but reddish pink. This is the one that's going to go to the like ignition power down to the fuse box. You'd have like a tap. Anyway, I ran a wire whenever I did this harness. I just used the original harness and put a new fuse box in there. Anyway, I ran this brown wire. In hindsight, I wish I'd have made it a lot longer. I think this was originally for, hell, I can't even remember now, but I just marked it as spare, so we'll use that one. This one's going to be the one that runs to the Hyperspark distributor and ignition and all that crap to get the tack signal from the Holly Sniper. Yeah, there we go. Got a crimp on that. Normally you want that seal to be up in there a little further, but being inside the truck, I'm not too concerned about it. That's up in there good enough. Snap that down, and we'll be ready to plug it into the I can't ever remember which one goes into which. I feel like I've got them backwards, but they're easy enough to remove. If you buy a kit, you know, with the tool and all that stuff, it'll come with a pin removal, but it doesn't really matter. It'll make a connection one way or the other. All right, back to buttoning stuff up. My brother came over yesterday, so we threw the bed back on. I haven't bolted it down yet, but it's back on. All right, so the battery tray was rotted out of the damn thing. So I have this left over from a LS truck, I don't know, GMT 800, like a 99 to 2006 Chevy vehicle majig. I cut out the rusty section. I can grab it real quick and show you. There's where it used to be, here. It's got pinch welds, so I drilled some of them out, and then some of them I just grounded out. Just cut it with the angle grinder. Oh, this is a time-consuming thing, doing all these little piddly odds and ends. So you got 3 bolts on this one. Hold it in. One down there, and then one on from the inside of the inner fender liner. We'll go ahead and just stick them in there. You probably just zip that off. I'm not going to clamp any hoses to that. I'm sure you can buy a whole new battery tray, but this is a budget thing. Alright guys, yes, it's going to take me, you know, total probably an hour or two to get this done, but it's fun. This one's a little wider, so that sucks. Guess if I wanted to get real creative, I could cut out crap and we'll just weld it up a little higher. Let me zip those bolts in real quick. That's fine. Makes it all whopper jawed on this side, huh? Go ahead and just cut it out of that side. Difference in width. Cut it there, zip that corner off. Wham bam, thank you ma'am. This is about 10.5. This is 11. So I need to cut a ½ an inch out of it. Oh, this is a pain in the tush. It won't look great, but luckily it'll be covered up by a battery, so that's a plus. I'm gonna go chop this up with the angle grinder and be right back. Alright, let's see how this fits now. Yeah, still take a little more off that. I gotta do that real quick. Okay. Oh, yeah, that's much better. What I need to do, take my Sharpie, mark where I need a weld, and I can bring the welder over here and just tack it, and then we'll take it all back out and do it that way. So, there you go. Grind that down a little better with this flat disc. Just to make short work of it. Yep, that'll be fine. Mighty fine, mighty fine. Hopefully we got enough gas still in the bottle. I gotta get filled up tomorrow. Oh yeah, plenty of room. Alright, zip this thing out of here and take it over to the bench and weld it up on the bench. I won't make y'all watch me do that. I'll just show you whenever I'm done. I might hit it with some weld through primer just in between where it's going to be welded at least. I should have primed the bottom side of that before I even tacked it in, but whatever. It is what it is. If it sucks, then I'll just fucking buy a new one eventually. Gotta do what you gotta do. Save money where you can so you can buy other parts. Alright, there we go. It's not pretty, but it should serve its purpose of holding the battery in place. I did put a charcoal canister on here for the return, or for evap, you know, for the fuel tank to have somewhere to breathe. Because it's still in the cab of the truck. Get these ones started over here and then kind of probably fidget with it to get the other one to, the other side to, you know, line up, bolt in. It's a little tacky, so that sucks, but I don't have the patience to let shit dry. Get that bolt that dropped. See if I can cram it in from the bottom down here. I'll have to do that whenever I get it up in the air, so I can get some to line up that hole, the bolt, but that should hold a battery. Just need to get a battery tie down thingamajig. Look at that. Can't beat that. For just some labor, not too bad a deal. Alright, I'm gonna work on probably doing some wire harness stuff, and then we'll be back in a few when we're doing something worth watching. I was just showing you could basically make your own freaking battery tray if you got some crap laying around. You don't even need this. You can literally just have a piece of sheet metal, or you know, maybe some 16 gauge, 14 gauge steel plate or whatever. Put you a couple bends in it, weld a nut to the back side of it, something to just hold your battery in place, you know. Anyway, there's that. So back working on truck, getting the wires ran, the harness ran for, you know, the fan relays and all that stuff. Ran, you know, the headlight harness and all that stuff. Just kind of trying to button it up a little bit, make it look a little neater. Mounted the relays. Like this relay here will be for the for the sniper itself, and then this one here will be for the fuel pump. I'll put little labels on them here in a little bit. This tray actually had that little piece on there. It was for a bracket or something. Sorry, you can't see it. It had this piece on there. I just bent it up and stuck these little tiny metric bolts and stuff on there. That's the fuse for fuel pump. This is the only fuse I had, so this is what we're using for the sniper. It should be fine. There's no problems with that. This is a main fuse for the actual truck harness or whatever. It's a good junction box and a good, like a, I don't know, 90 amp fuse, so that's good for, you know, the rest of the truck. Got the power steering reservoir bracket put on, hose clamps on, all that stuff. Hose ran the wires from over there to over here for the alternator. Had to extend those. Those are always fun. A little breakdown of what we got here with the sniper harness. All right, so it doesn't come with a relay, but it's always a good idea to run a relay. So this relay is running over to behind the distributor there to this right here, one of those Delphi connectors, weather pack, waterproof kind of connector, whatever. From there, that wire is going to go to, basically, it's a yellow wire here, but from what would have went to like your HEI or your ignition coil, that's getting a 12 volt ignition source whenever it's on and whenever you're cranking. So that's the 12 volt source you need for that, and that'll come out of here. It's going to be the pink wire. For most Chevrolets, GM vehicles, it's that pink wire. It's coming from your fuse box, which is coming from your ignition or whatever. Then you'll run that to, normally you would run it to, I believe it was a pink wire originally on the sniper itself. Maybe it wasn't. Switched ignition. Oh, it was a pink wire. Okay, yeah. So yeah, that's also going to trigger the relay for the fuel pump too. The fuel pump relay comes with it. And then this harness, because I had the, what is it called? Hyperspark ignition, Hyperspark distributor as well. And then I got the Hyperspark coil I mounted over there. But I'll put the Hyperspark up under the dash. Just looks cleaner, keeps it out of the engine bay. See, I put it up in there and routed it out there to the firewall. They're all, you know, They're only going to plug in one way, so you can't plug them in wrong. So the sniper's also going to control the electric fans like I did it on the small block. And those wires are running over to that Busman fuse relay box if I want to add more stuff. That's basically getting a trigger from the, this goes hot whenever the ignition goes hot, but I couldn't use it to control the sniper because it's not going to be hot all the time whenever the ignition's starting or all the time or whatever. It's just basically whenever the key's on, it's hot. Simple box. There's about 20 different configurations you can get with that. I got this one on eBay for real cheap, and I changed it around. It was originally set up for like a ground trigger, I believe, and I don't remember now. It's been a while since I ordered it, but I switched it around. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of show y'all, you know, this is a lot of wires. It's a little overwhelming at first, but once you get them all routed and all that stuff, you can kind of dress it up a little bit as much as you can, you know, to each their own how they want to do it. I'm just gonna cover these basically in a big loom, you know. I'll get them all kind of tight, and I use these velcros. Normally I'll just use them just for mock-up purposes, but for the sake of, you know, in the future, if I got to pull this stuff apart, I'll probably just leave these velcros on instead of zip tying or taping or whatever, because they're easy to remove and they're not very expensive. You can get them at Walmart, wherever, you know. So yeah, they work pretty good. This is about the best you can do as far as where to route the wiring. You just don't get much of a choice, but we'll pull it up away from the header and stuff like that. Yeah, get it kind of dolled up a little bit, gussied up. Just a quick disconnect. That's another thing whenever you're putting this together, as you can with some stuff, add these quick connects, or, you know, connectors or whatever, Delphi style connector, weather pack connectors. Makes it a lot easier if you got to pull it all off and stuff like that. Having a tidy wiring harness is pretty important with the sniper, just so you don't get interference from RMI or whatever, EMI, electromagnetic interference, or you want to have good plug wires. I just had some, I don't know, cheap O'Reilly's plug wires, and it worked fine. Or when I had it in the Suburban with this engine. But we just want to make sure everything is tip top before we fire it up, because got to break that cam in. Can't stress that enough. Make sure you've got your cooling systems tight and good, not leaking. Take the thermostat out. You can always drain a little bit of coolant and put it back in there. It ain't no big deal. Yeah, definitely take the thermostat out. So you don't want a stuck thermostat causing you to overheat. Another thing, in my opinion, one thing you could do is take your, you know, vehicle, obviously roll it outside of your shop or at the edge of the shop. Have you a water hose ready in case you do spring a coolant leak or something. You can just cram that water hose in there and let it keep feeding cold water into it. That's you know, one good way to save yourself from overheating an engine you're trying to break a cam in on. I don't know, it's a little nerve-wracking. When you put the brake master cylinder on, I need to put transmission fluid in as well. We gotta do that, don't forget that. And power steering fluid. I need to put some blue tape on this so I know to fill them up, because they don't got nothing in them. I don't think anybody really wanted to watch me run wires, you know, route wires around a vehicle and stuff like that. So we just kind of skipped that nonsense for you. I'll just give you a little breakdown of how it's hooked up and all that stuff. So I'll get this kind of wrapped up with some loom, and then we'll be back tomorrow, you know, get into some stuff. I just hadn't had time lately. I've been pretty busy, so anyway, I'm ready to be done and fired up, and let's hear it run, you know. Then we get to work on putting the seats in and carpet and all that fun stuff. Then if we can get everything running good and everything, we'll look at putting air conditioning on it, because it's gonna be hot. It's always hot here. Oh, I gotta get an oil cooler. I think I mentioned that before. I need to get on there tonight and order one. That's gonna call it for the night, and we'll see you tomorrow. It's gonna work on the shift linkage. So I bought like this low car knockoff or whatever. Let's go look at this piece of junk. I was looking at it earlier and noticed these, you can barely catch a thread before it. I don't know how to describe it. This should have like a flat spot on it or something, because these, you can only get like one thread in there before it hits it, so it'll start trying to strip it. So I'm going to take and mark these, and I'm just going to grind a flat spot in it with a flap disc or whatever. We'll do that real quick. Just make a little groove there for it to have room for that set screw to lock in place. Actually thread in there. We'll hit this with the angle grinder or whatever real quick. Be right back. That's a little crude, but whatever, it works. Let's see if I can get those to start without trying to strip out. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Throw a little Loctite on that bad daddy. You're good to go. Okay, that's much better. So this is the part that's going to go onto the shifting pawl or whatever you want to call it on the transmission. So let me get that. See, this has like little teeth in it, so tighten that down. It keeps it from coming out. Pretty nifty. So this will be what goes onto the transmission. Yeah. Okay, it only goes one way. If it's tapered, it's just that fine of threads. Let's go look at the transmission, see where we want to point this at. Alright. I think that's about as good as we're going to get on that. Putting you somewhere where you can kind of see what the hell I'm doing. Put this guy on here. It's got little flats in it, so it matches that guy there. And this will go up to here. Okay, that's what this is for. Duh. Okay, that's what I wanted. Maybe they give you two different ones for different threads. Who knows? Oh, damn it, I got it upside down. I want this set screw on the bottom. Of course. I'm just gonna cinch this up a little bit. It'll try to shift, I'm sure, as I tighten it down. That's good. Well, the good thing is, you can slide that off and adjust it as needed. So there's that. Pretty handy dandy. I might have to look up some instructions for this. When you pull that column down, it pushes this down, so it's gonna go. Let's go the other way though. It needs to go that way. I have to think about this. I'm gonna look and see if I can't find some kind of manual or something. It's difficult being dumb sometimes. This linkage has a, I'm blinding the shit out of you. Let's pull it off. A slot for the hex head to go into, or you know, your freaking bolt to go into, and then you can, you know, put it where you want it. So that's pretty sweet. Here, I got you where y'all can kind of see that I'm fiddling with you. Go. So that'll work there, I think, because when you push the shifter down, it's gonna go. Okay. From the looks of it, I need to put kind of a kick. I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell. I need to put a bend in it to get up to this column. Here's our linkage. It needs to go basically to the. I'd like to put the bend in it up higher so it'll clear this. Let me see about marking that real quick. We're about right there. I think we'll be good to do that real quick. I don't know if this, you'll be able to see this where we're at, but let's see where that puts us in correlation to that. I need to adjust that a little bit to get our bend lined up. I don't know if that'll work. There's park. Guess we need to drop the truck down real quick and stick the bolt over there on the column side. So we'll do that. Here's our linkage. I think we could probably put a little bit more of a bend in it, and that would help just because you know, I'm having to kind of force it over. But well, maybe if we turn this a little bit. No, not really. But I think we're on the right track. Let's just stick a bolt in there and see. Let's just give her a whirl. Ernest P. whirl. I don't know which bolt's supposed to go on which side because it seemed like one of them had a kind of a shank on it and the other one didn't. I don't guess it really matters too much as long as they work. I feel like I'm not getting to the nylock on this one. Oh well, I can always move them around. So let's just see. Let's go look under there and see if it's hitting anything. Well, I can see from here it's not hitting anything. Yeah, it's clearing. I guess we'll just button it all down and hope for the best. Oh well, we got what we got. Yeah, it's real catchy and sloppy. It's just junk. It's got dirt falling out of it. The good thing is I know the shift pattern of a 3-speed automatic. It's pretty simple. Park, reverse, neutral, drive, second, first. All right, I'm gonna tighten that up and all that shit, and one more little piece of the puzzle done. I got the radiator put in. I haven't filled it with coolant yet, and I ran that return fuel line. Been just like I showed you the other day, button up wiring. My brother had a breather lid Rhino line. He's, you know, Rhino line the world apparently. But it actually looks pretty cool. I don't know if you can tell. It's got a little sparkle, little flake to it. You know, I don't know how to describe it. He calls it something XP. I don't know. Said something about not listening or something. I wasn't really paying attention. He's a nerd about that stuff, but I really appreciate him doing that. I'm gonna tighten up all that linkage and crap, check all the fluids and everything, tighten up the speedometer cable. I got 10 gallons of 93 ethyl supreme, or whatever the hell they call it at Exxon. We'll throw that fuel in there. For that, I need to put the gauge cluster in though, so I can, know where I'm at with temperature and stuff. Well, the sniper will have temperature, but I do want to know the oil pressure and all that crap. All right, let's get this instrument cluster in. The first thing we gotta do is drop the old steering column. So let's get that booger out of our way. The old sidewinder you. And this here is the 7000 Ripple model, so that's nice. Plug this in before we do anything. There we go. Now we'll do the oil pressure. Make sure you hook that up. You got a mechanical oil pressure gauge, otherwise you'll spit oil all over the place like I did the first time I started this truck. Guess I should have found some screws. All right, found some screws. This has like a screwdriver setting basically, so that's pretty nice. I need to get a couple more screws. 4 will be fine for now. Let's put this light switch on. Yay, my favy. Get this little guy off of here. This little ring. I think they make a tool for this to tighten this up. I don't have one, so just gotta use my hand and get it as tight as I can get it. And there you go, The cool thing about these old trucks that don't have a bunch of shit under the dash right now, I don't have any AC ducting, so if I wanted to put LED bulbs in there, I don't have to pull the cluster out. I can just pop all the little pieces out individually. All right, I gotta put the speedometer cable on. I guess I could have done that before, but whatever. Already lubed it up, and I connected it to the transmission already, so that's good. All right, got that hooked up. Still gotta finish hooking up the wires going to the HVAC stuff, the heater box and all that stuff. I don't have the heater core hooked up right now. I didn't want to end up with a leaking heater core while I'm trying to break in a camshaft. We're pretty much done under here for now, and we need to go fuel up the radiator. So I'll show you the little nifty tool I got for doing that. All right, so I have this tool here, OEM Tools Airback Coolant Refiller. So this will also, basically, it comes with all these different size things to fit different radiators or, expansion tanks if it's a modern vehicle or whatever. But it does two things. One thing it does is it tells you, basically, if you have a leak, because it will vacuum your system down, kind of like an air conditioner, like an AC system, you vacuum down or whatever, right? So it tells you if it's leaking, because if it doesn't hold a vacuum, then it's obviously leaking, right? 35, 40. Try the 40. When you put this in there, it expands it, and then you twist this on the bottom. Well, you probably shouldn't grab it by the gauge like I am. They should probably put a little bit more beefy gauge on there too, but whatever, it works. But you hook this to your air compressor, and it just basically flows through it. Put that on there. This goes down into, I'm going to use a new bucket, brand new Harbor Freight free bucket. So this needs to stay submerged. Maybe we can just zip tie this to that and then clamp it or something. Jed clamp it just to keep it submerged. And I'm gonna pour, so I just buy antifreeze, the concentrated antifreeze. I don't buy the diluted shit. Then I buy distilled water for $1.20 a gallon. Where I buy my stuff, I buy it at Atwood's. I don't know if there's other, Rural King, I think, is a similar place if you're up north or whatever. But I get it from Atwood. It's like $9 for a gallon of antifreeze, $8.99. I think to buy it pre-diluted is a little, it's like $1.50 more, $1 more. Probably smarter just to buy it diluted. Anywho, there we go. That'll keep that down at the bottom. Now you'll want like an empty jug. Turn that off. This is off as well, because it'll kind of spit back as you're doing this. If there's any antifreeze in the system still, it'll spit back. Turn this on here. Turn this on. I should probably put a plug on that, huh? Press that upper radiator hose, see it collapsing. You'll see some stuff come out of this hose if it's, you know, if there's cooling or coolant in the cooling system still. Because the more you suck it down, the more it will pull into the system. And we're going to see if it'll hold pressure, and we'll be right back. If it doesn't, then I'll let you know. We'll start searching for a leak. All right, it's holding the vacuum at 25. What? This vehicle holds or this engine stuff would originally have held like 5.5 to 6 gallons. So what I'll do is mix about put 4 of them in here. We'll do 1 part antifreeze, 1 part water, 1 part antifreeze, 1 part water. This is what the guy from Ghostbusters was made from. Was his name Slimer or something? I don't remember. All right, so you open this valve and you just start sucking it in. This is how you avoid getting air pockets in your cooling system, or the best way to do it that I've discovered, because you'll see as it's filling up, it just expands all the hoses and everything. See that hose is flat as could be, but it will get fatter. And like I said, I don't have a thermostat in there. I didn't want to run the risk of a stuck brand new stock thermostat being stuck. Instead of worrying about that, we just took it out. It didn't have a thermostat in it the whole time we were driving around in the Suburban either, so what the hell. Keep an eye on your bucket. Bucket's sucking down. I'll go ahead and pour all this in here, I don't care. And like I said, if you're not satisfied with that, valve off, valve on. Pull it down a little bit. You may get a little antifreeze out, but it ain't no big deal. Suck a little more in there. It'll stop filling up when it's full. When there's nothing left to fill, it won't fill anymore. We'll let this sit a minute and see if it goes all the way to 0, and we'll be right back. All right, I think we're good on that. I already released the pressure. Turn this valve off, release the pressure. Pop the air hose off. Here, pop this off. Pull this up out of the water, out of the coolant, and let it drip for a little while. Okay, that's done. Look at where we're at with the antifreeze. Bam. While I was waiting for that, I put fuel in it, put 10 gallons of 93. Next thing we need to do is put the battery on. We'll put the radiator cap on, then the battery, I guess. We don't have an overflow, so this truck didn't come with an overflow. All right, we'll throw the battery on. The negative cable is not gonna reach, so that's not what you want. Let's see if we have another one. I think I do. I don't know if this one's any longer. That would be about right, wouldn't it? Oh, it is a little bit longer, so I'm gonna swap that out real quick. Oh, good, the hole's too small. Well, I'm gonna have to hit this with the unibit real quick. All right, got that cleaned out. All right, I'll get the battery hooked up and we'll be right back. You don't need to watch me do that, I guess. Got the battery hooked up. I put the shift linkage on backwards, or I've reversed the shift pattern. So first is actually park, second is reverse, third is neutral, and so on and so forth. That's fine. We'll leave it like that for now. Okay. Got no juice at the ignition, so that's not ideal. Let's see what that does. I'm gonna probe around with some wires and see what we figure out. I did change a little bit of the wiring, not much. It was right around in this area here. This wire, it should be hot still. So I just joined 2 wires. It's not hot. Let's go over here. Should be this wire right here. Am I missing a wire? Did something happen that I'm not aware of? I like just disconnecting a bunch of shit that I spent time fucking looming up and stuff. Oh. Okay. Well, not our problem. This wire here is not connected to anything. To wrap all that shit back up eventually. So you go here. That's crazy. So just, make sure all your wires are hooked up, and that usually makes it work better. Crazy ass concept, huh? Alright. I'm gonna button this wiring back up again and turn the ignition off, and we'll be right back, and we're gonna fire it up and run it for 20 minutes. Let's see if we got power. Oh, we got some power there. Let's see what happens. Nervous. Okay. Not too nervous because it won't crank. Our shift linkage, that's what it is. It's the shift linkage. It won't fucking crank because I don't have it in park. Let me just pull that linkage out. I don't know what's going on. I'm running out of time to be able to do this because it's a weeknight. It's getting kind of late. And I don't want to piss off my neighbors by running this at 2,000 RPMs for 20 minutes. I am off tomorrow. And I will get out here in the morning, try to diagnose what's going on with the no crank. Who fucking knows, man? Anyway, we will be back tomorrow. Adios.